It started as an experiment, but not the kind you read about in peer-reviewed journals. This was the kind you wake up from in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, still wondering if you ever truly escaped. My professor, Dr. Halberg, had given me permission to stay overnight in the psychology department's old observation wing. Room 313, a windowless cell, a relic from the sleep deprivation studies of the 1970s. My thesis was about habit loops under isolation, how the mind rewires itself when the world just stops responding. So I went in prepared. I brought my laptop, my notes, a small camera to document everything, and enough caffeine to survive 48 hours of intense self-observation. I was supposed to record my emotional fluctuations, log every hour on video. It was all planned. It was supposed to be boring, predictable, safe. It wasn't any of those things. The first strange thing happened just 3 hours in. I heard typing. Not from my laptop, its screen was dark, asleep. The sound came from somewhere behind me. It was soft at first, like a single finger gently tapping a key. Then it got faster, erratic, frantic. I spun around in my chair, but there was nothing. Just the cold metal desk, the lonely fluorescent light above flickering with a constant buzz, and my own reflection staring back at me from the dark lens of the camera. I actually laughed at myself. Auditory hallucination, I said out loud, my voice sounding small and foreign in the silence. Isolation does that. It plays tricks on you, but I couldn't shake the feeling. The unsettling idea that something else was in the room, and it was trying to type back. By the 7th hour, the room itself had started to change in ways I couldn't scientifically document. The air felt heavier, thicker, like the pressure before a storm. The buzzing from the light fixture wasn't constant anymore. It slowed down, then sped up, almost like it was breathing in time with me. I began to notice patterns everywhere, loops. The same metallic creak from the old chair every 40 seconds without fail. The same pulse of static from the fluorescent light. Even my own heart seemed to be syncing up with this strange rhythm, and with every cycle, I'd hear it again. That faint typing. Sometimes it sounded closer, right over my shoulder. Other times it was far away, like the sound was orbiting me in the darkness. I was supposed to be the observer, but I felt like I was the one being watched, so I started typing back. In my digital journal, I wrote, "Stop. Who are you? Why are you in room 313? Each time I hit enter, a chilling reply would come back. A single distinct keystroke from the shadows, enter. When I recorded my 10-hour video log, my hands were shaking, but I tried to keep my voice steady. As I played the footage back, I noticed something. There, behind me, in the reflection on the laptop screen, was a shape. It was barely visible, just a blur near the back wall, like the faint outline of a person leaning just outside the circle of light. My first thought wasn't fear, it was excitement. Finally, I thought, some real progress. This was proof. Proof of visual distortion under sensory deprivation. I was thrilled, almost giddy. This was the kind of data that makes a thesis. Every time I replayed the footage, the blur seemed to shift, inching slightly closer. It felt like a reward for my patience. Every loop, every new discovery was another step forward in my research. It was a perfect, contained system. Until the blur started moving before I even hit play. I kept telling myself to stay rational. This is just data, hallucination, pareidolia, self-induced anxiety. My scientific training was the only thing anchoring me to reality. I had to trust the science more than my own senses. But my curiosity got the better of me. Using my laptop's weak, flickering connection to the university archives, I started digging. And I found something. Room 313 had been officially sealed for 30 years. The last person to use it was a research subject named Daniel Rourke, part of Dr. Halberg's original deprivation study. As I read through the digitized notes from his file, a cold dread washed over me. He had recorded the exact same phenomena, the typing, the rhythmic loops, the shadows moving in his reflection, and the final terrifying line in his journal read, "The pattern knows I'm watching." At hour 16, the experiment completely fell apart. The typing was no longer faint or distant. It was constant, a relentless, deafening pounding that seemed to come from the walls, the desk, from inside my own skull. It had no rhythm, no pattern, just pure, chaotic noise. I couldn't take it anymore. I screamed, "Stop," and it did. Complete, utter silence. The kind of silence that's louder than any noise. Then from the darkness came one slow, deliberate keystroke. T-Y-P. Something inside me just obeyed. I turned my laptop around, facing away from me, and my fingers flew across the keyboard. I started typing words I didn't recognize, sentences that formed too fast for my conscious mind to follow. My own hands felt like they belonged to someone else. The camera was still recording everything, the way my mouth whispered words without sound, the way my eyes were wide open, unblinking. When I finally regained control and dared to look at the playback, I saw it. I wasn't alone in the video anymore. Daniel Rourke was sitting right beside me, his form now clearer, his eyes fixed on the screen. The next morning, Dr. Halberg found me asleep at the desk, the camera's battery finally dead. He was ecstatic. He told me I typed for 6 hours straight, repeating one single sentence over and over again. Observation becomes replication. He just laughed it off, patting me on the back. He said I'd fallen into a perfect psychological feedback loop, exactly the kind of data my thesis needed. He called the experiment a resounding success. But that night, as I was packing up my equipment in my own apartment, I noticed something strange. Every time I blinked, for a split second, the image of room 313 would flash behind my eyes, the flickering light, the dark corners, still alive. And then faintly, just beneath the hum of my refrigerator and the city sounds outside my window, I could hear it again, typing, waiting patiently for me to answer. Thanks for watching. This was a heavy one, so if you enjoyed diving into the dark with me, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want more stories that question the line between science and the supernatural, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next.